Also, one trick is the thicker the steak, the better. You're better off if you're looking at a steak, taking a bigger steak than a thinner steak, make it thicker. Have some leftovers. Big deal. If you think it's too much, get a second meal out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, with regards to the aging of steaks, how does that work? Would you mind explaining that to our viewers? Is that something that you could do at home in your fridge, or?
Well, I think if you did it at home, your family would hate you. Your fridge is really not designed for it. It produces a very nutty, almost buttery smell, like sweet cream butter that might be on the edge of going off. It's not appealing. Yeah, you've got to control humidity and temperature, and you've got to have you've got to almost have a mother. Our meat locker actually helps propagate this particular mold that develops around the meat, and it's green and it gets hard and ugly, and I don't know what you're gonna why you'd want to do this at home. If you really feel that you have to do it at home, go ahead, give it a shot.
I was kind of kidding. I just wanted to see where you go with that. So.
I know nuts who can do this.
Really?
I would suggest you take that old. See, even a home refrigerator just doesn't work the same way. It controls moisture differently. But if you do, it's that fridge garage the garage fridge that you But how are you going to hang a piece? How are you going to do it? It's tough to do it home. You got to depend on a great butcher.
How long is too long when a butcher is actually?
We're seeing this quite a bit. We're seeing in the name of producing aged beef, because that's now the dry aged is now the holy grail.
Yes,
we're seeing some shops basically take their mistakes, things that didn't work out for them, cuts they didn't sell, and promoting those as some sort of super aged steak. Well, there's a point where it reaches its flavor peak, and that's where your butcher has to decide when to pull that piece out. It's the same with cheese. It's like ripening bananas.
Yes,
there's a moment where they're just perfect, and then after that, it's like you got to just know what you're doing.
I have a question for you. I've been meaning to ask you this for quite some time. When we were journeying through Spain together, we were given some beef, and you were able to identify that it was female and that it was a cow. Can you remember this?
Yeah. And
how would one do that?
I guess it's my blink moment. But there was Malcolm Gladwell wrote it up so nicely about when he talked about an art critic seeing something and saying, "I don't get it," and it's tough to be the one who says, this is different. This is not steer. The grain was different of the meat. It was more open grained, and I looked at it and I said, this is interesting. This is not steer. This is cow. And sure enough, when the manager or the person came back and said, you're right. It is what it is. We tend to sell steer here. Tenders can go either way, but if it's a bone-in piece of meat, it's almost always it is steer. So you end up knowing the difference. I can't tell you how many steaks we've sold. We're selling a lot of steak seasoning. That's also good. Every steak made at Barberian Steakhouse has that Barberian steak seasoning on it.
And you're not going to tell us the recipe for that, are you?
I don't even know it anymore.
Okay.
It's blocked up. We last year 170,000 bottles across Canada.
Really?
Yeah.
That many?
Yeah.
That's why you never return my email.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And I am trying to do a deal right now with one of the large chains. I want to give more money to charity.
Mm-hmm.
So what I've said to one of the large chains is I will donate all the profits for a 5-year period up to $1 million to some sort of childhood disease. I'm working on that. If you'll take it nationwide and let me put a special label on it saying that this bought all the proceeds. I really think Paul Newman had it right when Paul decided to give away all the money from his salad dressing as popcorn. And the Barberian steak seasoning, it's very good. People should use it. It somehow makes them into a better chef. It's kind of like buying a Viking range, makes them a better chef. But it does. So I suggest that they that when we do this deal, they go out and buy this bottle where we give the money to charity.
Oh, well, I look forward to seeing that on the shelf sometime soon.
Thank you.
Arron, thank you very much for joining us today at Good Food Revolution. Thank you for your insight into the world of steak, and we look forward to catching up with you sometime very soon.
Thank you, Jim.